All right, Rabbi say good morning. Good morning. Let us begin. Today's daf is daf Dalid in Mesechus Baba Kama. Begin by thanking all of our sponsors for this morning's shir. To thank our TALMUD Torah sponsors for the month of Cheshvan. For those families sponsoring all the Shurman Drushos this month, Steve and Teri Czinn, in loving memory of Steve's father, Bunim, Tzvi ben Chaim, Leah Sol, as a zechus refuah sheleimah for her daughter Ilana bas Esther, and for all those wounded in Eretz Yisroel. Yonason Rachel Wolff for a complete refuah for Refuel Yitzchak Baruch ben Esther. Jerry and Sora Wolasky in the zechus refuah sheleimah for their grandson Zecharya Dov ben Perel Shira, and Azriel and Iris Miller in the zechus of the holy soldiers of the IDF, and the merit of our brothers and sisters in Eretz Yisroel. Let's say with that, let us begin. Baruch Shem, we have a lot to do today. Today's daf is daf Dalid 4, and we are picking up in Eretz Hashem on Gimel Amud Beis 3b at the two dots, couple lines up from the bottom. I also tell you we had the great zechus Baruch Hashem last night. Menachem, Maishi, Avron, and Zevi and myself to travel to Daf Yomi Baruch Hashem in Edison, New Jersey. And it's really beautiful. We met a number of people, Baruch Hashem, who are part of our extended shir online. A really, really beautiful Simchas HaTorah, and it was such a it's beautiful. We think it's beautiful. The beauty of Torah is that we get to be part of something so much bigger than ourselves. And not just, I come to a Beis Medrash Baruch Hashem, and it's beautiful to see so many other people. But Baruch Hashem, the chevra that we're a part of, obviously we're part of Klal Yisrael. But I'm saying, but that's the only chevra that we're a part of. Baruch Hashem is even bigger than we could ever imagine. And to know that there are so many other Jews that are part of our spiritual circle is a very heartwarming thing, a very special thing, especially in these overwhelmingly difficult and turbulent times. So just Baruch Hashem, just know that we are zocha to have a beautiful extended mishpacha beyond the borders of our Beis Medrash as well, and halavai we shall be zocha to be able to learn together, one day together, Eretz Hashem, in Yerushalayim habenuya b'mheira b'yameinu. But so with that, let us begin. So Amada v'ahever. So we'll say Gimel Amud Beis 3b at the two dots. So remember again, we've accomplished a lot just in our opening days of Baba Kama, but now the one outstanding or remaining question is to define the third of the four categories mentioned in the Mishnah. So we've defined again shar as really representing an umbrella term. We've defined bar, although again remember we're going to delve deeper into each of these things. Hever, which is eish, and now we're left with maveh. So says the Gemara, my maveh. So we already saw this reference thing yesterday. Is that my maveh? What is maveh? So Rav Amar, maveh ze Adam. Rav explains that maveh refers to what we call Adam hamazik, represents a person who does damage. Rabbi Shmuel says, no, maveh ze hashen. Maveh refers to shein. I will say, now we've learned shein already. What's shein? Shein represents damage done by an animal. How? Through consumption, through eating. Now the truth is, remember again, that's the av. What's the tolda? So the tolda represents any type of damage done through the animal trying to get hana. So again, whereas the av might be, my animal walks into Ruvain's field and eats a cucumber, right? The tolda would be, let's say the animal has an itch and wants to scratch itself against the wall, does that, not for the purpose of damaging, but for the purpose ultimately of hana. That would be the tolda. So we'll say, Rabbi Shmuel, what's maveh? So one more time, Rav saying maveh is Adam hamazik, maveh is a man who does damage. Shmuel says it's shein. So let's analyze. So Rav Amar maveh is Adam. Rav says that maveh is Adam dichsiv, Amar Shomer, Asa Boker, V'gam Laila in Tibayun Bayu. So as I say here, so Rav ultimately quotes the pasuk from Yeshaya. And what does the pasuk say? The Shomer said that Boker has come, morning has come, V'gam Laila, and night in Tibayun Bayu. If you seek it out, you will find it. That's the lashon of imbayit and navosei. Now, what does that have to do with anything? So take a look at Rashi just for a moment. Amar Shomer, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So first of all, again, the pasuk itself is a metaphor for Hashem. The Shomer, the watchman, so to speak, over here is the Ribbon Shalom. Asa Boker, Gula Tzadikim. Morning has come, and morning has come. Morning is a reference to redemption for the righteous. V'gam Laila. Rashi says, Choshech l'Reshaim im tashuvu b'tshuva. Tivakshu mechila bayu. So the idea over here is Gam Laila represents for even the wicked there could be redemption. im tebayun bayun, if they seek out tshuva. Now, what's the point of this drasha? The point of the drasha is the lashon of tebayun means to be a seeker. If you seek something out, mave is the same lashon ultimately again as tebayun. So it's interesting drasha over here. So Rav is suggesting that mave refers to the one who is the seeker, like the pasuk of tebayun bayun. Who's capable of being a seeker? Who's capable of being a seeker? That's man. That's man. So therefore Rav understands from here that mave is Adam Hamazik, is a person who damages. Okay? Shmuel says, mave zehashem. So Shmuel says, mave shem, dichsiv, quoting over here the pasuk from Ovadia, ech nechpesu esav, niv'u matzpunov. So literally translated, ech nechpesu esav, how Esav was ransacked, niv'u matzponov. So we'll say, so what does this mean? So let's take a look here. So the Gemara says, my mashma, kidimatagim Rav Yosef, ich din isbalish Esav, iskalin matmuruhi. So we'll say that last phrase of niv'u matzponov means literally his hidden treasures have been revealed. So the lashon of niv'u is the same lashon of mave, which ultimately means to reveal something that is hidden. What's revealed? What's hidden? The tooth. When is the tooth revealed? When the animal goes ahead and does damage, right? So when the animal goes ahead, my animal goes into Reuven's field and goes to eat a cucumber, so suddenly that which is hidden, i.e. the tooth, now becomes revealed. Okay, so we'll say, it's very, you notice the drashas in Bava Kama so far, like from the Psukim, are very different kinds of drashas, right? Normally we used to like a drasha, there's a pasuk, it's a little bit more apparent, understandable. So remember again, these drashas over here are really focused on, interestingly enough, focused on definition of words. So okay, in any event, the point over here is both Rav and Shmuel bring a biblical raya for their particular interpretation, but once again we have Rav saying that Mave is Adam Hamazik, Shmuel saying that it is Shein Hamazik. So the Gemara says, Rav, my time alone, Shmuel. So remember again, both of them are quoting Psukim, and both of them have pretty, they don't need me to tell them that they have solid drashas, like, Shkayach, Rav Shmuel, good job, right? Hey, so again, they both have their drashas, so now the shayla is Rav, my time alone, Shmuel. So why does Rav, who says that Mave is Adam, why does he not hold like Shmuel, who says that it's Shin? Amar Lecha, Mikatani Niva, because again, Rav would say, Shmuel, if you were correct, the pasuk should really say Niva. Shmuel, my time alone, Rav. Why doesn't Shmuel hold like Rav? Mikatani bua. So it doesn't say bua or boa. So fine. So both say the point over the Gemara says Michti Kroy lo kimar daiki velo kimar daiki. We'll say by the way, here's the bottom line. The psukim themselves are not really compelling in either direction. Right? Just a bit, we know that. We see this. Again, we'll say if you look at the way they're interpreting the psukim, it's not like a straight drasha. Right? What they each have is the shoresh of the word mave in a particular pasuk, but the usage of it is not abundantly clear. So the Gemara says, to be honest, neither Rav nor Shmuel have a compelling pasuk to back up their claim. So we'll say, to a certain degree, let's accept the fact that they both have psukim. Let's accept that. But then on a fundamental level, let's ask ourselves, Rav, my time alo amar kishmuel. So we'll say, why is Rav not holding like Shmuel? So the Gemara says, good. Rav my time about Shmuel. Tana shar v'chol mili the shar. Now both say, now listen to this. There's a very simple reason why is Rav not holding like Shmuel, right? Why is Rav not holding like Shmuel? Because also remember again, Rav says Mave is Adam Hamazik. Shmuel holds that it's Shein. So also there's a very simple reason why Rav doesn't hold like Shmuel, which is because the Mishnah says shar. Once the Mishnah says shar, so what does shar include? What does shar include? Right? Keren, regel, and Shein. So why do I need Shein mentioned separately? So the Gemara says, Shmuel, Nami, Hai Tana Leishor, I one second, Shmuel. So what do you do with this? Right? It's a solid point. At the end of the day, the Mishnah does say Shein. So why, or the Mishnah does say Shar. So why the need to go ahead and mention Shein again? So the Gemara says, so Amar Rav Yehuda Tana Shar lekarno umave l'sheno. So it's actually very interesting. So Rav Yehuda says that ultimately again the Mishnah mentions Shar. Shar means Keren, and mave means shame. So we'll say, according to Shmuel, the Mishnah is just structured a little bit differently. Einachinami, shar really only refers to Karen, and mave refers to shame. In other words, they both say, we decided beforehand that shar means Karen, shame, and regel. Now the Mishnah comes along and says, maybe not. Maybe halacha l'maisa, which ultimately shar means Karen and mave means shame. This is what it means to say. Loria Karen. So we'll say now. Why break it up into two categories? Loria Karen she'ein hana'a lahaziko kiriya she'ein hana'a lahazika. Because we'll say at the end of the day, it could very well be that halacha l'maisa these things are very dissimilar. Now, why are they dissimilar? That at the end of the day, Karen, there is no hana'a for the damage. Remember again, Karen is intention to damage, as opposed to shame, where there is hana'a for the damage. Top of Dalid, v'loria shein kavanos lahazik, kiriya Karen shekavanos lahazik, and shein is going to be different in that what? Shein has no kavana to damage, versus Karen, which does have kavana to damage. So we'll say, so just to show what's happening over here. So Shmuel, just to go through it for just a moment, so Shmuel will just simply say, the Mishnah is talking about two different types of damage caused by an ox. So when it says shar refers to Karen, and mave refers to shame. Why do you need to break them up? Very simple, they're very dissimilar. Right? One has intention to damage, one doesn't have intention to damage. One has intention to get hana, the other doesn't have intention to get hana. So therefore the Mishnah goes out of its way to structure them differently. Fine. So the what's that? But can't I make a kal v'chomer? Both say 4a second line from the top. What's the kal v'chomer? Watch this. Uma shein kavanos lahazik. So we'll say chayiv. So we'll say if shein. Remember again, shein is the type of damage that the animal does for the purpose of getting hana benefit. There is no kavana to do damage. So if shein, which doesn't have kavana to do damage, you're going to be chayiv. Karen shekavanos lahazik lo kol shekain. To know the more so Karen, where you do have kavana to do damage, certainly you should be chayiv. So we'll say if that's the case, I really shouldn't need both of them stated in the Mishnah. In other words, just write shar. Shar means Karen, and once there's liability for Karen, by definition there's going to be liability for shame. To which the Gemara says, no. It's just saradait chamina. Midi dahavi a'eved v'im a'eved ve'amar. Both say this is fascinating. I might have thought that maybe shar is comparable to the case of the servant, the slave, and the maidservant. I will say this is eved and ama kinani. Watch this. So I will say eved ve'ama is actually fascinating. Eved ama lav avagav de kavanos lahazik afilu hacha petiri. I will say listen to this. If an eved and an ama do damage, the master is pater. Look at Rashi for just a moment. Ha'eved va'isha pigi asan ra ha'chovel bahen chayiv vehin shechavlu ba'acherim beturin. So Rabbi says, so this is incredible. An eved or an amma who do damage, they are personally exempt. There's no personal liability for an eved and an amma. So we'll say, now watch this. We'll explain why that is in just a moment. So I might have thought, what's the havamina? I would have thought that the same way that an eved and an amma, who are the property of the master, if they do damage, they are exempt. So to what? If my shor does damage, then what? Should be exempt. I should be exempt as well. To which the Gemara says, "Hakanami lo shna." Rashi, no. Atu eved va'ama lav tamaraba ispuhu. No, there's a very important reason why eved and amma are exempt. Why are they exempt? Shema yaknitenu rabo. V'yelech v'yaglik gadisho shel chavero v'nimtza zeh mechayev es rabo mea mana b'chol yom. I will say this is fascinating. Do you know why an eved and an amma are exempt when they do damage? I will say because imagine the following situation. Now, if there was liability for what an eved did, that would mean that whenever an eved damaged, I will say who would be liable? Who would be liable? The master. So you know what that means? Every single time the eved gets angry at his master, what does he do? He goes and he lights someone's field on fire. Now we'll say, now why does that getting back at his master? Because now his master is going to have personal liability. Isn't that incredible? So in other words, so therefore we'll say, we have to, if an Eved was going to be liable for his actions, remember, liability for the Eved effectively means liability for the master. So that's a very dangerous thing, because then essentially the Eved could go out of his way to damage every single day just to give it to the master. So, and then the master is totally exposed each and every day. He has to, he has to go ahead and really be very careful with how he treats the Eved, has to tiptoe on the Eved, lest the Eved get upset, cause damage, and make the master liable. So we'll say, so obviously, that logic doesn't apply by shar. Right? That logic doesn't apply by shar. Ella, parachachi. Rather, we'll say, you have to say the following. Lo riya karen shekavanos lahazek, kiriya shein kavanos lahazek. Rather, you have to say like this. Karen, of course, is different. Karen is different. Yeah, Karen, one has kavanah to do damage, is different than Shein, where there is no kavanah to do damage. And of course, Shein is going to be different. Why? Because Shein there is hana. Remember again, Shein is damaged in the pursuit. Shein is damage performed in the pursuit of hana, of benefit, is different than Karen, where there is no pursuit of hana. So as I say, therefore again, remember, this is all justifying Shmuel's understanding of the Mishnah, as to why the Mishnah would need to break up shar and maveh. So Shmuel will simply say shar refers to Karen, maveh refers to Shein. Why do you have to list them separately? The simple answer is, they're different. Okay, so the Gemara says, V'regel my shire. So now the Gemara says, so now remember, I just want to point out what's interesting about this. So the Gemara says over here like this. So regel. So where do you find regel now? In other words, both say, so now what you're telling me is in the Mishnah, so shar ultimately again means Karen. And maveh means Shein. Now I will say, just understand, before we started this daf today, the world was in perfect equilibrium, right? Why? Or at least our little daf Yomi world. Right? Why? Because I will say, when I opened my Gemara today, what did shar mean? Right? Shar meant Karen, Shein, regel. Beautiful. Now comes along Shmuel, and I will say everything changes. So now, shar just means Karen, maveh means Shein. If that's the case, now what? Where's regel? Right? Where is that? That's got to be somewhere in the Mishnah as well. V'regel my share. So the Gemara says, where do you find, literally again, where are you going to find regel in all of this? Look at Rashi. So avid leitana demasnisin de lotani shire. So in other words, literally translated is regel. Why would regel be left out? V'regel my share. Why would regel be left out of all of this? To which the Gemara says, it's not left out. Kishehizik chav hamazik. So I will say, when the phrase in the Mishnah says, Kishehizik, when damage is done, ultimately, again, the damager is responsible. That line in the Mishnah, look at Rashi just a moment. Rashi says, V'haki kamar, hachtik tani masnisin, lo hari hashar ke hari hamaveh. Right? When the Mishnah itself has that phrase, that shar is not like maveh, so ultimately that phrase, Kishehizik chav hamazik, when the Mishnah says that when the damager damages, there is liability, lasui regel. That comes to include regel. So I'll say, so this is very interesting. So essentially what you have is like this. Essentially the way the Mishnah is set up according to Shmuel is, shar teaches me Karen explicitly, maveh teaches me Shein explicitly, and regel is kind of learned out from a phrase when the Mishnah says, Kishehizik chav hamazik, when the damager damages, there's liability. That teaches me that there is liability for regel. Okay? So the Gemara says, listen to Behedja. But I don't understand. Why not just mention regel explicitly? It seems a little bit strange. You're mentioning Karen explicitly through shar. You're mentioning Shein explicitly through maveh. And you're telling me now you're learning out regel from a phrase in the Mishnah. But why not mention regel explicitly? To which the Gemara says, Allah Amar Ravi, you're right. Tana shar l'raglo umaveh l'shino. So rather, what you have to say is like this. The Tana said shar is regel. Wow. Shar is regel. Right? And maveh is Shein. V'hachi kamar, this is what it means to say. So I'll say, see what just happened over here? Now what we just did is, remember, this is all in Shmuel, that maveh is Shein. So now we're turning it around a little bit and we're saying, shar is not Karen. Rather, what is shar? Regel. So listen to this. So Tana shar l'raglo umaveh l'sheino. Rather, what you have to say is like this: that halacha l'maisa, shar represents regel, and mave is shein. V'achar, what it means to say, lo ri'ya regel, shazeka matzoi, kirya shein shein azeka matzoi. So the difference between, so remember again, shein and regel are different in that what? Regel represents damage done through the course of activities of daily living. Is different than shein, where ultimately is not damages through daily living, rather damages through ano. And shein is different ultimately again because it's damage done in the pursuit of hana, versus regel, which is not done in the pursuit of hana. V'keren my share. So we'll say, okay, that's fine. They'll say, I've just exchanged one problem for another problem. So now what I've done is I've said, okay, shar means regel, mava means shein. Beautiful. Okay, so now where's Keren? So where's Keren in the Mishnah? To which the Gemara says, not a problem from the phrase, kishehizik chav hamazik. Again, I will say once again, it's that phrase in the Mishnah, whenever you do damage, ultimately the damager is liable, lasuye Keren. That ultimately again refers to Keren. Fine. V'lisnei behedja. So I don't understand. Why isn't Keren mentioned explicitly? So basically, we've just exchanged one problem for another problem. Let's say, this is actually a very profound Musar Haskell. Which is, we'll say, life is often exchanging one problem for another problem. Also, you ever have like a crisis situation in life, whether it's a personal crisis, relationship crisis, and you solve it. And how do you feel after you solve it? You feel pretty good. Right? You're like, all right, I'm going to Disneyland, good. Like, I feel good. I would say, and then what usually happens just a little while later? New crisis. And it's interesting because often we become very frustrated. Why do we become frustrated? Because we think that somehow there is this thing in life called crisis resolution, that once I solve it, I'm done. So we'll say, there's a beautiful Chavetz Chaim. Chavetz Chaim says in Ashiyatza, we say, Rofei kol basar, umafli lasos. Literally, Hashem is the healer of all flesh. Umafli lasos, and does wondrous things. So the doctors will appreciate this. So the Chavetz Chaim says, what's the difference between Kadosh Baruch Hu's healing and man's healing? He says it's fascinating. When man heals, he almost, by healing one thing, he almost always breaks something else. That's the lyrics. So we'll say, I think like the greatest Musar Haskell of this is the Rahman like chemotherapy. Right? It's fascinating, right? A person has to undergo chemotherapy, Rahman, what happens? Literally, you break down the entire immune system, right? You go ahead, so you kill off the cancer, but in the course, you break down the entire immune system, leaving a person susceptible to every single thing. So I'm treating one thing, but in the course of treating that one thing, I'm breaking a whole bunch of other things. The Ribono Shel Olam is the only entity in the universe who is able to go ahead and provide holistic healing. He's that's Rofei Kol Basar. Kol Basar means the Ribono is able to heal everything. Umafli Lasos. That's a Pella. That is a Pella. And I will say it's important yisod in life that sometimes we get frustrated because we have this expectation in our head that things are supposed to go smoothly, that things are supposed to be okay, that when I resolve one crisis, and now again, smooth sailing ahead. Another big musar from the airport. A lot of musar in the airport. I say, right? You ever see the sign in the airport? Rumble strips ahead. Good musar Haskell in life also. That's it. Rumble strips ahead, I will say. Right? That's it. Shmuel, don't give me that look. Get out more. Right? Rumble strips ahead. Right? So Lamaisa again. Right? It's a good musar Haskell in life also. Sometimes we expect the road to be smooth. And I will say, if you expect it to be smooth, and then it's not, you're very frustrated. But if you expect the rumble strips, right? If you expect that at the end of the day, it's going to be bumpy like that, life just becomes much more easy to handle because that's what it is. Only HaKadosh Baruch Hu can make everything perfect and smooth sailing. That's not us. So we'll say, it's incredible. We'll say, look what the Gemara is doing. We'll say, see what's happening over here? The Gemara solves a question, right? So, for example, the Gemara says, 1 second, where's Regel? So what did the Gemara say? No problem, we got this, right? We got this. Where's Regel? Regel is Shar, and Mava is Shein. And obviously you can imagine, like in the big they're just all proud of themselves, right? Look, we just solved the problem. Except the Gemara said, okay, that's great. So at the end of the day, now where's Keren? Right? Now where's Keren? So the Gemara says as follows. So the Gemara says, so now, okay, so Karen Maishari, because she's a Chava Lasui Karen. I will listen to Behedja. So I will say, so why not go ahead? Once again, why not mention Karen explicitly? In other words, what have you accomplished? Where's Karen? To which the Gemara says, listen to this. B'mu'adin mitchilasan kamairi. So I will say, listen to this. The Mishnah is dealing with cases of muad mitchila. Muad mitchila. And I will say, we haven't really gotten into this all that much yet. But remember again, we know this. This constitutes a muad and a tam. So a muad again is a habitual offender versus a tam which is a first time offender. Our Mishnah is only talking about things that are muad mitchila. And I will say we're going to see, for example, this is actually fascinating. An animal that does shane damage or that does regular damage, there's no such thing as tam and muad for that. You're always a muad, which makes sense, right? Because an animal, it's common and normal for an animal to do damage in the course of regular activities of daily living. It's normal for an animal to do damage in the course of shane, the pursuit of hana. Those are normal. So there's no such thing as like first time half damages or second time half damages and then only third time. No, you're muad from the beginning. That's different than keren. Both an animal demonstrating aggressive behavior and damaging the course of aggressive behavior, that's not considered to be normal. That's not normal. It's only by keren where there is tam, where first again, you have a couple of times where it's chatzi nezek, half damages, and then only later on you become a muad. So it's actually fascinating. Gemara is suggesting, do you know why keren is not explicitly mentioned in the Mishnah? So remember, you're about to say, in this iteration over here, shar represents regel, mave represents shane, and keren is learned out from a phrase in the Mishnah. Why isn't keren mentioned explicitly? Because halacha l'maisa, the Mishnah is only talking about things that are muad mitchila, where again you're warned from the beginning. Karen is not like that. Fascinating. Ushmuel. So we'll say so fine. So Ushmuel. Now remember, all of this is the interpretation of Shmuel, going with the idea that Mav Shein. I asked the Gemara Shmuel, my time lo Rav. So why doesn't Shmuel hold like Rav? Remember again, Rav says Mav is Adam Hamazik. So why doesn't Shmuel hold like Rav? So the Gemara says, Adam. If you thought that ultimately Mav is Adam, here's the issue. Hakatani Seifa. Look at the end of the Mishnah. Shar Hamuad. I will say when he says Seifa, this Mizrahi Zashatz actually points out this is the Mishnah on Tesvav Amud Beis. On 15 beats. That's what it means. Not our Mishnah, the next Mishnah, or two Mishnahs from now. So Hakatani Seifa, look at the Seifa. So remember now, we're trying to figure out why the Shmuel, who holds that Mave is Shane, why does Shmuel not hold like Rav, who says that Mave is Adam? So look at the end of the Mishnah. Katani Seifa, Shar Hamuad, Vishar Hamazik, Bishos Hanizak, Vaha Adam. So very simply, Shmuel will say, because Adam is mentioned explicitly later on. Okay? So in other words, if Mave was Adam, then Adam would not need to be stated later on explicitly as a separate category. Incredible. So the Gemara says, velisni bereisha. So why isn't Adam mentioned in our Mishnah? In other words, we both say, our Mishnah talks about arba avos nezikin. So why not include Adam hamazik in our Mishnah? To which the Gemara says, velisni bereisha, beniske mamon kamari, beniske gufo lo kamari. So we'll say, very interesting, because Shmuel will say that halacha l'maisa, our Mishnah is talking about Niskei Mamon. What's Niskei Mamon? Niskei Mamon means damage done by your property, as opposed to Niskei Gufo, damage done by your person. Adam represents, again, damage done by the individual himself. So therefore Shmuel will say, so remember again, just to follow the flow, we're asking why doesn't Shmuel, who holds that Mave is Shane, why doesn't he hold like Rav, who says that Mave is Adam? So Shmuel will say very simply, because Adam is mentioned explicitly in the next Mishnah. Okay, I asked the Gemara, so why isn't Adam mentioned here? Because our Mishnah is talking about property that damages, i.e. my shar, right, or my bar, or my aish, right? Not talking about a person who damages. Beautiful. To which the Gemara says, right, beniskei mamon kamari, beniskei gufalo kamari. V'rav nami, hakatani adam b'seifa. So then I'll be linked back to Rav. Remember again, what did Rav say? So Rav said that Mave is Adam hamazik, is a person who damages. But Rav, Adam is mentioned explicitly in the next Mishnah. So why are you mentioning it over here? Wow. Okay, so we'll say, now listen to this. Rav will say that even though Adam is mentioned later on, Adam is mentioned again over here. Why? Adam is mentioned over here, and I say later on why, to ultimately include him in being a muad. So I'll say this goes back, look at Rashi for just a moment. Rashi says it's the first wide line. Hakatani Adam b'seifa v'lamli l'misnei b'reisha. So we'll say, so according to Rav, who says that Mave is Adam, so that means Adam is mentioned twice, right? Adam is mentioned in our Mishnah, and Adam is mentioned in the next Mishnah. Why is Adam mentioned twice? So look at Rashi, second why l'mechsheve b'hadei mu'adin u'da'asa diktani chamisha tamin v'chamisha mu'adin v'kachashav l'hu v'azil. So we'll say, Adam is mentioned explicitly in the next Mishnah because Adam is grouped with the grouping of muad. Remember again, this goes back to yesterday's daf. What did we say? What did we see? Adam muad li'olam. Adam muad li'olam. So even though Adam is mentioned in our Mishnah, Adam is re-mentioned in the next Mishnah under the grouping of muad to teach us that a person is always muad. Always muad, right? Whether he's awake, whether he's asleep. Incredible. Good. So the Gemara says, umay lo hari. So I'll say, so ultimately, and so what does the phrase lo hari mean? Rashi says over here, diktan maslisin lo hari hashar kahari hamave. So I'll say, so our Mishnah, remember again, said that shar is not like mave. So what does that phrase come to teach us? Good. Umay lo hari hachi kamar. Lo riyashar shemishalim es hakofer. So remember, shar, I will say, if a shar kills someone, shar kills a person, he's chayiv kofer. We'll talk about all of this in depth. Kirai ha'adam shein mishalim es hakofer. But say a person doesn't pay kofer. Right? If a person kills someone, chas v'shalom, they could be liable to a death penalty. V'lo riya'adam shechayiv ba'arba v'dvarim, and I will say ultimately a person who is going to be chayiv in 4 different types of payment. We're going to discuss this. We'll spend a lot of time on this. When you damage someone, there's multiple buckets of payment that you are obligated. But a shar, on the other hand, again, doesn't have ultimately, again, these 4 buckets of payment. So we'll say, what is the common denominator between man and shar? Shedarkan lahazik. It is common for them to damage. The chishar, dark o lahazik. Is it common for a shar to damage? It doesn't say that by a person, right? Is it common for a shar to damage? B'muad. Ultimately, again, by a muad. We're talking about a muad. Umuad darko lahazik? Yeah, is that true that even by a muad? I will say again, to say that it's common for something to damage, that means that more often than not it damages. So is that true even by a muad? It's more common for it to be mazik? To which the Gemara says, yeah, kevan di yaid archeu. Both say it's incredible. Once it becomes a muad, ultimately, again, it becomes the normal course of things. I will say, it's an incredible yisod. Remember, again, we're going to talk, we haven't, part of the challenge of this Gemara, I will say, I know, is that the Gemara is throwing a lot of concepts at us that we have not yet learned, but yet incorporating them just in the flow of conversation as if we've learned them. So remember, again, we're going to unpack each of these. Remember, a muad is an animal who has gored 3 times. So we'll say, here's what's interesting. So the Gemara says over here that it is the derech of a shar that is muad to gore. And we'll say, now what that means is, it's more common for that animal to gore than not. So Gemara says, really? In other words, even though it's gored 3 times, we'll say, even though it's gored 3 times, there's many times that the animal has encountered another animal and has not gored. So why do you say that that's the derech? So we'll say, it's a profound line. The Gemara says, kevan diyaid orchehu. I'll say, once something becomes ingrained behavior, that becomes the derech, that becomes the reflex. So once the animal becomes a muad, that becomes its reflexive behavior. And I will say it's incredible. Now what we're seeing is a connection between shar and adam. Right? What is true for shar might also be true for adam. I will say everything is about forming positive habits. Because the more we reinforce positive behaviors within ourselves, even if those positive behaviors, I will say, think about this just a moment. I think for many of us, one of the hardest things is davening. Right? It's not hard to daven, but it's hard to daven in a meaningful way. Especially since we do it 3 times a day. No one who amongst us doesn't think to themselves, you know what, if I only had to daven once a day, I feel like I could really like bring it home. Give me like one tefillah a day. Whatever it is, shachris, mincha, whatever it is, once a day, and I feel like it could really be incredible. So I will say, Chazal knew that most of us would not have kavanah 3 times a day. It's not like there's something wrong with us. You think that 10 generations ago they had kavanah 3 times a day? You think when Anshe Knesset Gadol instituted davening they had kavanah 3 times a day? No, people are people, and most people don't have kavanah 3 times a day. So why do we daven if we don't have kavanah 3 times a day? And I will say, what are we doing? It's habit forming behavior. It's habit-forming behavior. I'm creating a habit. I'm reinforcing behavior to talk to God. But most times, I don't even remember that I spoke to God, right? I don't even remember that I davened. Chakras is good because you can see that you put on tefillin, right? But other than that, sometimes I don't even know what happened or what didn't happen. It's okay. I mean, it's not okay. That's not the ideal, right? But lamaisa, I'm reinforcing positive behaviors. And when you reinforce positive, I'm supposed to say that changes the kind of person you are, even if the action itself is not filled with all that much kavanah. Kevan di'iyayid. Once you become a muad, I will say there's a good muad also. There's a bad muad, a shor that gores multiple times, and there's a good muad. I daven 3 times a day. I was saying, I'm a muad for tefillah. I'm a muad for tefillah. And once I become a muad for tefillah, archehu. It's my derech. Now it's my teva. Now it's my nature. I didn't daven with kavanah. Okay, I want to aspire to get there. But even before I have the kavanah, ultimately, again, there's a behavior. There's a behavior that is now ingrained inside him. Incredible. So, Adam, darko lahazik. 1 second. Is it common for a person to be a mazik? To which the Gemara says, biyashin, when he's sleeping. Biyashin darko lahazik? It's the derech of a person to be a mazik when they're sleeping. To which the Gemara says, kevan dekayif upashit archehu. Interesting, will say yes. Apparently, especially when you're sleeping, since you're rolling, you're stretching out, you're moving, since a person is maybe not as cognizant of their movements, so therefore it is the derech to go ahead and damage while you're sleeping. Incredible. Ushmirasan alecha. We're saying remember the Mishnah says, Shmirasan alecha, the responsibility of the animal is upon you. Adam shmiras gufa alavu. But I will say that verbiage, that phraseology doesn't work by Adam. Shmira Salacha means its Shmira is upon you. That's a reference to Shar. That's not a reference to Adam. Adam, it should say, Shmiras Gufa Alav. I have responsibility for my body. Ulatamech Haditani. Karna. When Karna said, Arba Avos Nazikin, there are 4 categories of Nazikin. Va'adam Echa Mehem, and man is one of them. Adam Shmiras Gufa Alav. Again, the phraseology of the Mishnah doesn't work. Ella Kedam Rabbi Avo. Litana Tani Adam Shmiras Gufa Alav. You're right. I will say again, for sure, the lashon is Shmiras Gufa Alav. I'm sorry. For sure, the lashon is Shmiras Alecha. I am responsible for the shor. For Adam, the proper lashon of the Mishnah is Shmiras Gufa Alav. I have responsibility for my own body. I'm a base. Hachanami Tana Adam Shmiras Gufa Alav. Okay, so we'll say fine. So good. So we'll say, so now remember, so what we have over here now, halacha l'maisa, again, still we'll say, same machlokas, just like the first couple of days of Rav Papa, so this is still going to be Rav and Shmuel, right? Halacha l'maisa, again, what is Maveh? What is Maveh? So Rav telling you that Maveh is Adam, Shmuel telling you that Maveh is shame, and I will say specifically again, according to Rav, we just interpreted that even though Adam is mentioned later on in the Mishnah, we want Adam over here also to teach you the concept that Adam muad the olam. Good. So the Gemara says the Saz maskif l'ramari ve'ema mave zemayim. Okay, so we'll say, so now I'll introduce a new concept. Maybe Mave, maybe Rav and Shmuel, you're both wrong. Maybe Mave is neither Adam, nor is Mave going to be shame. Maybe Mave ultimately again is Mayim. Maybe it's damage done by water. Now what does that mean? Look at Rashi, second line from the top. Rashi says, Ema Mave zemayim, shim shofech Adam meimov l'shorabim, uba'achar v'natfo kelav chayva shochvan. So I'll say, so what happens? So if I'm pouring water into Rosh Hashanah, and then what happens? It ruins someone's fruit. Maybe that's Maveh. Now, why would Maveh be mine? Listen to this. Gemara quotes the pasuk. So we'll say, quoting over here from Yeshaya. Kikdoach eish chamasim, or hamasim, mayim tive eish. So we'll say, so literally translated. It's interesting now that I will say. I think, is it fascinating how like the Gemara over here in Bava Kama is quoting the most obscure psukim. By obscure, I mean Navi, right? Right? I would say it's just fascinating, but like it's these like more esoteric psukim that the Gemara is quoting over here. It's fascinating. So literally translated, Kikdoach eish hamasim. So the same way that fire is able to melt things, mayim tive eish. Now I will say, now Rashi points out over here, tive means that when you pour water on fire, or pour fire, right? There's like bubbling, right? The water bubbles up. So babuos, it bubbles up. So the Gemara says, so we'll say, what's the point? The point over here is tive is the same notion of what? Of maveh. So maybe maveh means damage done by water. To which the Gemara says, tive mai mixi, does it say tive? mayim nivu. I'm sorry, so the Gemara says, right? So, I'm sorry. Kikdoach ish hamosim mayim tiveh. Mayim tiveh ish. Miksiv mayim nivu. Does it say mayim nivu like maveh? Tiveh ish ksiv. No, it's not the right word. Fine. Maskev Rav Zid ve'ima maveh zeh. Maybe maveh is fire. Maybe maveh actually means fire. How so? The chiksiv tiveh beish. Because always remember again, it says kikdoach ish hamosim mayim tiveh ish. So maybe maveh is fire. Ihachi may hamaveh. So we'll say, here's the problem. May hamaveh v'hever. So we'll say, remember, what do we say? We said hever is eish. So if that's the case, if maveh is also eish, then you have two things referring to eish. V'chitema perushe kamefarish. So maybe we'll say, maybe maveh and hever are actually the same thing. Just ultimately, again, hever is explaining what maveh is. Right? So maveh is eish, but we don't know what maveh means. Hever comes to explain that ultimately, again, maveh is eish. Okay. Ihachi, if that's the case, arba shlosha. We're supposed to say, here's the problem. If maveh and hever are both fire, then here you have a problem. What's the problem? The Mishnah said arba avos nezikin. Right? So we've got shar, right? Bar, and then maveh hever, you're telling me is the same thing, is eish. If that's the case, you only have three. To which the Gemara says, "V'chitana." This is incredible. V'chitana shar deis be tarti. So I will say ultimately, maybe it says shar, and I will say maybe shar actually comprises two things. I will say, what's the two things? Look at Rashi, right across. Actually, a bonus Rashi, literally right across. Deis be tarti, shein v'regel. So I will say maybe shar means both shein and regel. Both shein and regel. The Karen lo kachashiv. So we'll say, so again, ultimately, we're not talking about Karen, because as we said before, according to this approach, why wouldn't Karen be included over here? Because over here, we're only talking about things that are muad from the beginning. Fine. So therefore, so the Gemara suggesting is like this. Shar means shein and regel, two, and then maveh hever is eish. And is then of course bar, that's three, and then ma behever is eish, four. So you have four avos nazikin. To which the Gemara says, Ihachi, lo ze v'ze sheish ben ruach Chaim. So we'll say, here's the problem. The problem is the Mishnah ultimately says that ultimately shar and maveh were different in that both of them did not have ruach Chaim, right? Excuse me, I'm sorry. Look at Rashi. My lo zeh v'zeh tiktani masnisin ashar umaveh lo zeh v'zeh sheyesh ben ruach Chaim. I will say the Mishnah made it sound like maveh was something like shar that was alive. The problem is now if you're interpreting maveh as eish, at the end of the day, eish is not alive. So how do you understand that? So the Gemara says, lo zev v'zeh ruach Chaim. So the Gemara says, eish, my ruach Chaim ispe. Fire obviously is not alive. V'su, my kahari ha'eish. Therefore, ultimately, again, what is kahari ha'eish? What is that comparison of the Mishnah going to mean as well? So the Gemara rejects that. The Gemara says it can't be. So I'll say, as much as the Gemara wanted to suggest that maybe maveh is water, rejected that. Maybe maveh is fire, rejected that. So I'll say, so where are we? We're still exactly where we left off before, which is, what is maveh? Machlokes Rav and Shmuel. Rav telling me that maveh is Adam Hamazik, a person who goes ahead and damages. Shmuel telling me ultimately again that it is Shein Hamazik. Shein Hamazik, good, but we reject these other options. So again, let's say obviously we will have to answer this, or not, or we could just leave it as a machlokes and how to read the Mishnah, but that machlokes is still there. Let's go back there. So Tani Rav Osha. So we'll say this really gets really exciting. I will say again. My goal with Baba Kama is, we could speed through this. You could definitely speed through Gemaras like this and just isolate that. But again, I think if there's an opportunity to kind of get the shackle of a tarya, to get the back and forth, it's not complicated. In other words, if we had especially an hour and a half, we could really, really drill it down. So we're still going a little bit quickly. But again, I will say, it's actually very sequential steps that are very methodical and very easy to follow. So I'm trying to take it just a little bit slower, so that like a fine glass of wine. You could gulp it down and it'll have the desired effect, but you miss the entire bouquet on the palate. You could gulp this down. You could easily gulp this down, right? No problem. And again, you can get the major points and you'll be totally fine. But again, you missed the beautiful bouquet on your spiritual palate. So that's, let's take it a little bit slower. So Tani Boshia. And I will say one more thing. I know that this is not the most exciting daf. I do understand that. But I will say, again, remember, especially for the chevra that's back with us now, like, al tit ya'ish, as they say. Don't give up in this. Like, again, Bava Kama is fantastic, Bava Kama is significant, but again, you also have to put in your time with a bit of the more laborious Gemaras as well. So again, going to be incredible. Let's go weiter. So Tani, this is fantastic. Listen to this. Tani Ravoshia, Shlosha Sar Avos Nezikin. Oh, wow. I was saying, so get ready, look what just happened. So we just went, this is incredible, from a Mishnah that said there are 4 categories of Nezikin, right? To now, and tried to figure out what one of those was, what's Mava, to now a totally different Mava. Boshia says, actually, there are 13 Avos Nezikin. Now, let me tell you what this means. When Rav Oshia says there are 13 Avos Nezikin, what he means is like this. There are 13 categories of potential damage that are explicitly mentioned in the Torah. When he says an av means 13 categories, 13 situations where there is the potential for damage. What are the 13 situations? Here we go. Shomer chinam, an unpaid custodian. Shoel, a borrower. No seischar, which is a paid custodian. Socher, a renter. So now, in all of those categories, all of those people have liability. Now, their liability is different in every situation. We're going to spend time on this, more Bab Mitzvah, but we're going to spend time on this. Right? Again, there's different liabilities. So, for example, if I'm an unpaid custodian, the only thing I'm chayiv for is what? Is pshia. Is negligence. If I'm a paid custodian, then I'm obligated even for what? Gneva va'aveda. Even so, again, so that's what when Rav Oshia says there's certain categories of damages. What he means is in each of these cases there's liability for each of these people. Furthermore, nezek means damages. Sar, which means if you damage someone you pay for it. Sar, which means if you damage someone and there's pain and suffering, you pay for pain and suffering. Ripui, doctor bills, medical bills. Sheves, lost wages. Boshes, humiliation. So these are all different buckets of things you have to pay when you damage someone. So we'll say, so you have all of those, the Arba Dimas Nisin, and ultimately again, and the 4 of the Mishnah, Tara that gives you Tleisar. 13 categories of damages. 9 that we just mentioned, 4 of our Mishnah, 13. I have a Tana Didan, my time lo Tanihani. So why doesn't the Tana of our Mishnah include these? Why doesn't it include these? And we'll say there's a lot of good Rashis over here also that we're just not going to get to, but you'll get on your own. So why does our Tana only say 4? Why doesn't our Tana say 13 as well? So Bishlam Shmuel. So according to Shmuel, this makes sense. Why? Biniske Mamon Kamari, Biniske Gufolo Kamari. Because we'll say Shmuel who holds that what? Our Mishnah is not talking about Adam, right? Our Mishnah, right? That's why I remember Shmuel says Maveh Shein. So ultimately, again, our Mishnah is only talking about damage done by your animal, right? By your mammon, not damage done by yourself. Rabbi Oshia's, right? These extra 9 are talking about again Niskei Adam, a person who does damage. So it makes sense, according to Shmuel, why our Mishnah doesn't include El Rav listening, but according to Rav who says that Maveh is Adam. So our Mishnah is even talking about Adam Hamazik. If it's even talking about a person who does damage, why not include all of these others? So Tana Adam v'chol nidid Adam. Okay, say Lachinami. According to Rav, when it says Maveh, so we'll say if Maveh is Adam Hamazik, so what does Adam include? Everything. Oh, you're right. Adam includes all of these cases because Adam is like an umbrella term that includes every case of where a person does damage. Well, Rabbi Oshia, and according to Rabbi Oshia, I will say, who just included these other 13, Nami ha tani le Adam. So according to Rabbi Oshia, I will say, why does Rabbi Oshia have to go through this whole list of 13? At the end of the day, our Mishnah says Maveh. Maveh is Adam. Adam should include all of this. Why do they need to make a whole list? To which the Gemara says, Trey Gavni Adam. There's 2 types of people. 2 types, right? Trey Gavni Adam. There are 2 sides to man. Tana Adam da Azik Adam, Vitana Adam da Azik Shor. Now, we'll say there's a case ultimately again of a person who damages another person and a person who damages an ox. All right, so the Gemara says. So therefore, Aboshi is saying Maveh could be Adam, that's Mazik, and again, his case of Adam is also Adam Mazik. But again, one is Adam damaging Adam, one is Adam damaging a Shar. Ihachi. Shar nami listening trey gavni shar. So if that's the case by shar, also there should be 2 types of damages by shar. Also, shar da'azik shar. So we'll say let the Mishnah talk about an ox that damages an ox. For listening shar da'azik adam, and let it talk about shar that damages a man. So the Gemara says, "Hi mai." It doesn't make sense. I'll tell you why. So Adam da azek arbedvarim. We'll say when a man damages a shar, so there's damages. When a man damages another person, there's 4 buckets, right, of payments. As we just said before, damages and humiliation and lost wages and doctor bills. The word is Ella, shar, mali shar da'azik shar, mali shar da'azik adam, idi v'idi nezek hudim ashar. Say, but when the shar goes in and damages another shar, it's always the same bucket of payment. And let's say again, whether you damage a shar, whether you damage an adam, it's always going to be that. So we'll stop over here for today. We're going to pick up, by the way, it's about to get even more exciting. So we'll say what we have is our Mishnah, Arba Avos Nezikin, Raboshia, 13 categories of Nezikin, reconciliation of the two Eretz Hashem tomorrow. Shkoyach.